I'm the Headless Headhunter. I'm a corporate recruiter here to review your resumes to get you ahead of your job search and give you other job search tips and tricks. This person is a full stack software engineer, and they have stated to me, we do not know their exact ratio of interviews to applications, but hey man, not getting even one reply from recruiters, what's wrong with my resume? And I did a meet or yeet of this, and spoiler, this was a yeet. I actually yeeted this about like 10 seconds into the video, so there is a lot wrong with this, so let's cover what they're doing wrong. So the first thing is full stack software developers, what they want is TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node, Angular, Next.js, MongoDB, SQL, React.js, API REST, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functionally, and bonus points for architecture, extra language, and Git. These, to be clear, are the minimum qualifications. If you do not have these in your resume, under a job, project, or internship written how and the reason or result of them, you will not be moved forward because they will assume you do not have it. Both recruiters and hiring managers. So first, this does not, oh man, this is not, okay. This can be deleted. You do not need a summary. There are 3 reasons you would want a summary, and it does not look like you are one of those reasons. Technical skills sections, complete, oh man, hyperlink is not working this one. This is junk. You need to delete this. Technical skill sections don't count. Because remember, I need these minimum qualifications in here. I need it to be under a job, an internship, or a project. If it's not under those, it doesn't count. That is why the technical skill sections are bad for your resume. And here is a giant red flag, is a self-owned company, not a cell phone company, because I misspoke once. A self-owned company is a giant red flag to hiring managers. Job hopping and self-owned companies are the biggest red flags you can have in your resume. So you do not want to say co-founder. Never say co-founder, never say CEO. Just say the job title, and I hope your company is that you co-founded did not use your first name. So just say that. In addition, your formatting is awful. So this is how your formatting should look like. This is on my website. This is how to get it there. This is what your resume needs to look like, right? I don't care if this says cashier. If you're a software engineer, it should still look like this. Just, don't mention point of sale machine. So your formatting is way off. Actually, it's not way off. You could do a lot worse. It's not great, but at least it's still legible. So nothing here I cannot link anything on this one. It's just messing up. Nothing in this section should be bolded, but the biggest problem, which beyond the brain formatting, is I did not find the minimum qualifications. Because remember, the technical skills sections don't count. I need to see it here. And I did not see it. The only things I found were CI/CD, which is good. What else did I find? CI/CD, Next.js, and I missed CSS. I don't think I even got that far down. And I think that was it. It was Next.js and CI/CD. And that's not enough. I need TypeScript or Python and JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, which you put all the way at the bottom. I need SQL. I need React and Angular. Your very first sentence should be used TypeScript, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML to create a blank in a AWS Agile environment, right? That's what I want to see in the first sentence. I did not find any of that. And because of that, I could not move you forward. If you sent this resume to me for real, I would have to reject it. This is why nobody is giving you the time of day, is because there's nothing here we can use. Because remember, doesn't count if it's here, has to be here. Not letting me hyperlink right. It's bluing everything. Has to be here. And it needs to look like this. So this is why recruiters are not responding, is because they would get laughed at by showing this resume to the hiring manager. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean to you. I'm not trying to say, oh, look at this person. They're not. Because your resume is not indicative of how good you are at the job. That is not the point of a resume. Resumes do not show how good you are. I wish they did, but they don't. They just show that you meet the minimum qualifications for a very specific and niche or niche, I never know how to pronounce that, role. So this is why you're not getting recruiter stuff. So tell me about your job search below. Give me as many details you want in the comments. And anybody else, if you want to tell me about your job search, I'm here to hear. I'm here to listen. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell. And if you need more help, join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST. And let's go to the next resume. Oh, at Headless Headhunter. The link to that is twitch.tv/Headless Headhunter. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a full stack software engineer intern, but internships are a little weird, so that once you graduate, you need to pick a stack. I say that a lot, and that is necessary. Weirdly enough, for internships, you don't need to. So this is not a full stack software engineer intern. This is just a software engineer intern. And what we're looking for an intern is pretty basic. We want a basic knowledge of a tech stack. So, maybe it's just like TypeScript, Python, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, along with, like a library or two, SQL and cloud, and the ability to work well with others and take direction and criticism. And that's about it. A lot of the problems interns have is they try to hype themselves up and say they're the best person ever. But remember, you're an intern, right? Your goal is not to be the star engineer. Your job is to learn and take criticism. And that's where people get stuff wrong. So this person has 150-to-1 ratio, which is not great, but they do love my channel and thank me for all that I do. Thank you. I appreciate it. Could not do this without all of y'all. Really could not. Absolutely not. So I thank you all for letting me do this. I like helping people and I like attention, so it works out well. But you do not need to. So I'm assuming that you hyper focused on the tech when you need to do a little bit of the social skills. So first off, your formatting is a little off. You want it to look like this. Again, this is how, I think this is Jake's resume formatting on Overleaf, which is not the worst. I will say, I think it's like a C- resume formatting. It could be a lot better, but it could be a lot worse. So nothing here should be bolded. And this is a little confusing to me, is you have bachelor's twice. I'm not sure why you got 2 bachelors in mathematics. If this was a master's, then I will say your internship will be a little bit different, and that you do need stuff, because internship and PhD masters are a little bit different than bachelors, but I'm going to assume this is a bachelor's intern. So, reduced MongoDB aggregation latency by 50% across 200 active templates by optimizing indexing, refactoring, query pipelines, and agile. What part of that is this? Remember, this is the minimum qualifications. I'm not looking for all of this. MongoDB is nice, but I'm looking for the basics. This is the minimum qualification, and I need to know you meet the basics. And refactoring a latency across active templates is nothing. In fact, even if you were a full-time engineer with 5+ years experience, I would not recommend writing it like that, because that is incomprehensible to a layman. Your resume needs to be comprehensible to a layman. So RESTful APIs, good. Express.js, kind of okay. Mongoose, nope. Node.js, okay. Okay, React TypeScript. So you have over-engineered this, and what I'm looking for is a couple of things. So first off, your first sentence should be built user interface, used TypeScript, HTML, CSS to build a user interface and add React to that. I don't need the rest of this stuff, right? I don't care. What is real-time sync and reduce editing conflicts by 20%? I don't know. Everybody adds percentages, and it's okay to have a percentage, but when everything's a percentage, nothing is. I need that syndrome meme where it's just like, when everybody's super, nobody's super. When everything's a percentage, nothing's a percentage. So this, I want to be your first thing. Just say used React, TypeScript, HTML to do that in an agile environment. That should be your first one. Then develop GitLab CI/CD, automate testing, and deploy services to Google Cloud Platform (GCP). AWS you can keep as AWS. I don't know why that is, that everybody knows what AWS is, but GCP is not as popular, so you need to put Google Cloud Platform and then (GCP), and then for the rest of the resume you can use GCP. So these should be your first sentences. And then I need something about how you worked well with others and took criticism. Remember, every single person says led. I'm not looking for you to lead. Your job is not to lead. If students, I don't care about unless they are like middle school or whatever, because teaching middle schoolers is tough. I was a substitute. that shows you can work well with others, but teaching adults is not what we're looking for. I want to know how you were led by adults. How did you take criticism? Because some people, and this is not a lot, but managers are wary of it, they'll say, hey, Bob, I'm really glad of what you did for the code, but it was wrong, and we're going to need you to redo all of it. And they will say, okay, flip the table and just run off and just start screaming in the parking lot. So you need to show that you can take direction and work well with others. But these two are okay sentences. You just need to not add all these percentages. Like, this is actually your best written sentence. This just has the most stuff I would want in it, which is this stuff. So write them like this. Again, I don't care about that. Real-time music, PostSQL, again, you have the other stuff. GCP, you already did. NLP is okay. You may want to add NLP. That's pretty good. But yeah, how did you work well with others? So part of the problem is the formatting. Part of the problem is your sentences besides this one are completely incomprehensible to the layman, and you don't show how you take direction and criticism or work well with others. That is why you're not getting responses. In addition, you do need to apply early. The faster you apply, the better your chances of getting an interview, because ATSs do in fact sort people on a first come first serve basis. Yes, AI does exist, but it's not popular yet. So there's a lot of misconception about like AI and ATSs. It's not there yet, maybe in 2 years, but right now it's not common. So even if the ATS they use has AI, it's usually not active, and when it is, they kind of turn it off because it's not great. So fix your formatting, fix your bullet points, make it understandable to a layman, and add those two things right up there, and apply early, and you should be getting more internships. And that is all I can do for this one. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume review of it's not quite an infrastructure and backend engineer. I could not find backend and infrastructure engineer, so this is specifically for a infrastructure engineer. In addition, this is not something I've ever recruited for, and this is a case where I would have needed to ask the manager a bunch of questions about it, which I don't really get to do for this channel. So these are the keywords I believe we're going to be looking for. Take it with a grain of salt. Firewall, VPN, switching, routing, IP, DNS, DHCP, LAN, WAN, LAN, cabling, PowerShell, VMware, tool suites, any of these. Windows desktop and server OS, along with Ubuntu, which I apparently spelled wrong. Active Directory wasn't a lot. I definitely want to see Active Directory, MySQL, any type of SQL, TCP, IP, DNS, DHCP, CCNA, CNMP, VCP, and Microsoft. So that is not 100% accurate list, but it should be close enough. So I'm hoping to at least find about 50% of it. This person stated they applied to over 100 jobs in the last few weeks, consistently tailoring your resume and writing custom applications, but you've only received rejections or no responses. So, first thing is never tailor your resume to the individual job. The more you tailor your resume, the less your chances. Because that is not how ATSs work. People assume that the ATS does some kind of crazy, amazing, AI scanning software, when the reality is 99% of the ATSs on the market, even if they have those features, don't use them. So it's first come, first serve. So the longer you take to submit your resume, the worse your chances of actually getting that interview, which is why you never want to tailor for the job itself. You want to tailor to the job title. The job title is what you want to do. That way you don't have to keep remaking your resume, because not only is it hurting your chances remaking your resume, it's also wasting your time, and I don't want you to waste your time. So that is one flaw you already stated, although it does seem like infrastructure engineer is a bit of a hot market, but still, you don't want to keep tailoring your resume. You want to do it to the job title, not the job itself. You apply to at least 3 jobs daily across both startups and tags, and a brief dive into what I may be missing, formatting, messaging. So, weirdly enough, as this does seem to, if you are applying for remote jobs, tailoring your resume is going to tank your chances into oblivion, because by the time you submit it, everybody else has already submitted their resume and you are too behind and you may not get seen. If you are applying for on-site roles, it looks like infrastructure engineers are a solid market, so it's not going to matter too much. There's just not going to be enough competition that it matters, but if you are applying to remote roles, that is why. So, let's see what we can do and what's wrong with this resume. For one, this does not follow my template. You want your resume, this is the template. You want your resume to look like this. This is peak resume, I swear. This is the Riz, the resume Riz, as the young generation calls it. I am not cool. I never have been. So you want it to look like this. This is how you do it. It's on my website for free. This is hard to read. So nothing here should be blue. Nothing here should be blue. Your hyperlinks can be blue. That's fine. We also do need to know that if you are, it's beneficial to put your location if you're applying to on-site, and if you are a U.S. citizen or green card holder, you should put that in. If you are not and you need immigration, then you will need to explain how the company can work with your immigration or visa status in the summary, which is what you should do instead of a summary. So if you need to explain the visa or you're relocating, put a summary. Otherwise, this can be deleted. This can be deleted. This can be deleted. So this is probably immediately your problem. None of this matters. You have filled almost the entire first page of your resume with junk. A skill needs to be shown under a job, a internship, or a project, and you need to show the reason and result of it, of how you used it, and how you used it, right? So the reason and result of how, actually that's a better way to say it. You need to show the reason or result of how you used it, okay? Otherwise it does not count. That is why key achievement sections don't matter, technical skills don't matter, and summaries don't matter. Nothing here counts for us actually determining if you are qualified, except for, like I said, the visa status, the relocation, and the third one, which I'm forgetting off the top of my head, which is why I wrote it down. So your resume actually starts here. First off, you need your education up at the top. Where's your education? It's all the way at the bottom. Yeah, you need that up at the top, and its formatting's off. Second, I have no idea why people do this. This right here, where they spell out this thing over here of what they assume that we want. This is a nightmare. Never do it. Never do it. Your bullet points should look like this, okay? I don't care that this is a cashier. This is peak resume bullet points, okay? I want to know that you operated a POS system, or in this case, it could be, instead of POS, it could be used firewall, VPN, switching, LAN, WAN, whatever, to do X and Y from customers, perform basic math to give them change, keeping them engaged. You can still use this sentence, just switch a couple of words around. This is how I need it to be written. This gives me nothing. This is a giant wall of text, and this is apparently even a hot market. So this is why it's failing. And even if the ATS didn't work like that on a first come first serve, every single time I see people keep remaking their resume, I've noticed a trend of them making it worse and worse and worse every time. So stop remaking your resume. And, well, actually, sorry, you're going to have to remake your resume one more time because this needs to be deleted and completely redone. But after that, stop remaking it unless you've found a flaw, because this is a nightmare. There's absolutely nothing here I can need. Because remember, this don't count. This don't count. None of that counts. This doesn't count. And then you get to here, and they see healthcare system architecture. Okay, cool. That's not one of my keywords. DevOps, not one of my keywords. AI-powered solutions, also not one of my keywords that I'm looking for, or qualifications. Microsoft architecture, Microsoft I actually would be, but you kind of. This is an okay sentence, although you have percentages. So you need to remake your resume one more time, and you need to make it like this. But there's nothing here. Like, I can't tell you how to improve this because you need to redo all of it because it's basically a waste of paper or electronic bits and whatever they use. So, not trying to be mean, but like your resume needs to look like this, okay? And it needs to have keyword sentences and bullet points that are written like this so that we understand you have these. These are the minimum qualifications for the job. If we do not see the minimum qualifications, or at least 75% of them, you get rejected, and that's the main reason. So I want to impart that knowledge, but that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of, I don't know. They said SDE, and SDE is not a job title. So I know it stands for software development engineer, but for software development engineers or software engineers, there are only 5 job titles you can have that are most common. Is full stack, front end, back end Java, back end Python, back end C, or C# or whatever it is. So those are the most common. And this person stated they have full stack, but they're looking specifically for back end. And the problem is I don't know which back end. Those all have different qualifications. Every single one of those 5 I've mentioned has different qualifications. If you try to put in a front-end engineer and a back-end in any of the languages, you will fail for full stack. I'm serious. I know that's weird because full stack is both front and back end, but they all have different qualifications. Also, this person completely doxed themselves, so I can only look at this. So they asked, would it be better to create a new resume focused solely on back-end development? Yes, you do. Or should you include both your full stack and back-end? No, do not do that. You want to keep them separate. If you are looking for a soft SDE position, you need to pick a stack. Now, you can have multiple resumes. That's okay. So one resume for back-end Java, one resume for full stack, and one resume for front-end. But they are separate resumes, which is... Yeah, so this is, I cannot, okay, this is actually, these are written okay. I have some of the stuff. This should have been up top. This can be deleted. The project, again, the formatting on this is awful, but that's fine. Full stack using Next.js is what I look for. SQL is what I'd look for. Tailwind CSS, Tailwind, yeah, tools used. So again, you want to show how you use these, and I really would have wished you showed how React, but this isn't... React, yeah, PostSQL. I still need to see how you use TypeScript, CSS, and HTML, but this is not the worst ever resume. It's not great, I mean, but, you know, I could see this landing an interview or two because for full stack specifically. So, which I think is based on their, what they're looking for, though I think they are looking in outside the US, and I don't know outside the US market, so, but yeah, you need separate resumes. This should not be a full stack and a back end. It needs to be a full stack only resume and then make an entirely back end only resume. And if you pick back end, at least in the US, I don't know what it is like in, well, they're in I think India, because that's what they said at Bangalore. So I don't know what the software SDE market in India is, but I'm going to hazard a guess you still need to pick a stack of Java, Python, or C, whatever. So that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of an education program manager. Let's see. So this person, I think, has a 1 in 50, which isn't terrible, I will say. What we're going to be looking for is the industry. In this case, it's going to be education. Although I actually do want to note, I might have misread this. Is this, and let me know if this is the case, is this specifically a program manager focused on learning and development, or is this a program manager focused on the education industry, such as schools? Because I realize those are two separate things, and I'm not sure which one this person is. So I'm going to assume this is a program manager who's focused on like schools and the school system, and not a learning and development program manager. So first off, if you know Spanish, under here, you need to put the languages you're bilingual in. It is, I had another recruiter that actually made a hilarious point, and I know, so finding other languages when you're searching for bilingual people is a nightmare. It is exceptionally hard to find bilingual or trilingual or whatever lingual people. And that he made a joke, and I really thought it was really funny, that if you had a candidate that had two languages and you threw a brick with their resume in both languages in a recruiter's window, they would probably get you an interview on the spot. So you need to say, and this goes for everybody, under here, it will be right here, which is bilingual. Under this, it should be bilingual or trilingual in X and Y. So always, always, always put your other languages. It's really, really massive, especially if they're looking for it. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Nobody puts that in their resume. So what we're looking for is, I don't know if I said this, but industry, PMP, Microsoft Project and Visio, Microsoft 365, MS Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, pivot tables, cross-functional, highly matrixed organization, stakeholders, customers, clients, agile. And this is the most important part, is how you succeeded and managed multiple projects at the same time. So, oh, I see how this is written. Okay, you might want to change this a little bit. See, so okay, yeah, so here's what you want to do. Don't do all of this. I understand what you're going for. What you want instead is, in the very first bullet point, just state, worked as a consultant and X at 3 different companies and then you can do where I did X and Y. So you don't need to do all this. I don't think this is terrible, but it's a little harder to read. So you don't even need to say you worked at this place from March 2025 to May 2025. You just need to say freelance program coordinator at various companies, and then in the very first bullet point you state was a development associate, program associate, and communication consultant at X, Y, and Z, or was a program coordinator at X, Y, and Z, where I did X, Y, and Z. So you are going to sort of aggregate all of your experience into one, and this may be a case if you may want the other bullet point, the other format of the resume, but you don't need to do all of this. But led outreach for journal ad, purchase of procurement. That's actually good. Event planning for gala with 250 attendees. Scheduling emails. This is good. This should just be 2 sentences, but I actually do like this. Remember, each sentence needs to be 3 lines maximum. So once you fix some of this formatting, but I do like how you wrote this. I just think maybe this should be like 2. Remotely audited course of structural design standard by creating a new Excel system, correctly can help teachers to operate quality. This is really good. I think this is overly worded, this is too wordy, overly worded. So I want you to shrink it down a little bit, but I actually really like what you did here. So manage student enrollment withdrawals and instructors on behalf of 1,300 students by withdrawal course. And yeah, this is pretty good. So yeah, you need to shrink these together and long-term in Asana, good. Scheduling meetings, milestone, resulting in roughly on time. This is pretty good. So my critique of this one is you said roughly 95% on-time projects. I would phrase that a different way. Like, were you praised for it? Like, did they say above, like, exceeded KPIs? Or in this case, resulting in meeting my KPIs for project timelines, right? Because 95% could be amazing. It could be bad. And we don't know because we don't know what the internal company's metrics are. So you want to rewrite that a little bit. Accumulated media accounts. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so yeah, here's my big problem with this is too much. So again, what you want to do is you want to have one bullet point at the very beginning that says worked with 4 or whatever X companies where I did X and Y. Such companies as, and then you can list them if they know it. So that way you can shrink this down into one really quick summary that they know that you had multiple contracts going on, and some of them were simultaneous. Does not look like they were simultaneous, but that's okay. Yeah, they were not at the same time. But that way they know that you were working there and you don't need to do all of these things. And then you can just sort of cherry pick which ones you want to put in. Because I do like what you're going for with these. I think they're a little bit wordy. I think the fact that you are getting a 1 in 50 with this shows exactly what it is this is a C- and that it passes but barely. So do those changes and you'll get like a 1 in 25 or 1 in 20, I think. And that's all I can do for this resume. Please, if y'all like this stuff, give me a subscribe. It really helps me out. Like, comment, even if it's just nice video. I would love it. And if you need more help, join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And I will see you all in the next video to get you ahead of your job search.